Nicky, what I might know, it's kind of information he carries around with him.
I don't. I did have to listen to you and Sean talking about drums, though, on the weekend.
Oh, my word.
I know, well,
what was that like?
He's got... I mean, the hours just flew by while you were waiting to go on, didn't they?
And you stole all the Cooper's Ale from our fridge as well.
I did not.
You did?
I had a couple of small bottles of Heineken, if you must know, and
okay.
Well, there you go. You can see that we've been joined by one Nicky White and new Freak Zone presenter, James D. Bradfield.
He's after your job.
Well, you know what?
How's your show series? Okay.
I listen back to that. You want to back off, you, mate?
I did a bit of a wire, and I thought, right, I'm going to stay up till 3 o'clock the night before doing notes, and I did notes for the first time in my life since my history degree. History exam, sorry.
You were really good, mate, and you played some brilliant music. You know the thing you played that really, just very quickly, the thing that really shocked me, because I'd never heard it before, that Simple Minds track. It's incredible.
Oh, kind of off Empires and Dance.
I was thinking, who's this new weird experimental art rock band? Yeah.
It's kind of, bizarrely, serendipity's just flowing here. I saw Jim Kerr at the Hyde Park gig Sunday, and I told him that I'd played Twist Run Repulsion off Empires and Dance. And he said that is the first time that track has ever been played on the radio.
Wow.
And I asked him, the name of the girl who talks French in it was called Chantel.
Lovely.
So there you go.
But you're here today to talk about Rewind the Film. And which has been, it's a wonderful thing. Are you very proud of it?
I think we are, actually. I think, we tried to do something which is a form of reinvention for us. We tried to make a very intimate, delicate, gorgeous, kind of soulful album. I think we pulled it off.
Well, we'll talk lots more about that in the next half hour. We'll have one track right now. So tell us something about I Miss the Tokyo Skyline, which Stuart and I is one of our favourites. It's sort of independently honed in on this one.
Yeah, it's a real mood piece, I think. It was a glorious afternoon in the studio. James had done an acoustic sort of sketch to it, and then we just sent Sean downstairs with all his boxes and his leads, and we had an afternoon nap for about 4 hours. We went down, and he wanted to try and recreate the sound of a bullet train as a backing track.
Right.
He was getting really intellectual, like drummers do.
Of course.
And he did. He created this kind of just this sense of pace and movement, which kind of makes it feel like a perky song, even though it's kind of really slow and melancholic.
And I'm sorry, Stuart. Is Tokyo a place that you love, a place close to your house? I mean, taking it absolutely literally, do you miss the Tokyo skyline?
Well, I think it was one of the seminal moments amongst us as people, the first time that we ever landed in Tokyo in Japan. I remember us driving in from the airport into the city centre, and it takes a long time. Yeah. And it was just everything seemed in slow motion, and we were in this van, and The Eternal by Joy Division was playing.
Oh, right. I love that tune.
It was just one of those moments where these four kind of valley oiks just had a complete culture shock, and everything was moving in slow motion, and The Eternal to the backdrop of this, thoroughly modern city, Tokyo. It was just a magical moment for us in the band. And but the one thing about Tokyo is it smashes the old and the new together in such an original way. Right. And I think Wire has actually got a map of the Tokyo skyline from his last hotel room the last time he played there.
Well, yeah, we're planning a tour around the Olympics there if we still,
Right, okay. Well, the Manics are here for the next half hour. James and Nicky, if you've got questions for them, you know where we are. We'll talk lots more in the second half hour, but these are the Manics from the new album, and I missed the, in brackets, Tokyo Skyline.
BBC Six Music.
Wrote for Kylie, didn't she? Wrote some tunes for Kylie.
Slow, she wrote for Kylie.
And you can hear that may have been something that she started off with Kylie Man. I think it's gorgeous.
And we know some other people who wrote for Kylie.
We do indeed. We do indeed. And they're with us here, Nicky and James from the Manics, talking about Rewind the Film, their terrific new record, which is our album of the day, plus here on Six Music. The record is, from the very word go, from the opening line, a kind of really unflinching bit of self-examination, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I kind of think we grew up with getting that from records about, be it Leonard Cohen or Morrissey or whatever, that idea of looking in the mirror and being... You kind of got comfort, what Kurt Cobain saying, I miss the comfort of being sad. And it is a self-examination kind of record, which I used to love growing up. It used to give me a lot of comfort to feel that all the imperfections in the world would be reflected, in music. But it's quite brave, really, in your mid-40s to do that.
What do you mean? I was reading this quote where you said the hinterland between 40 and 50 has been difficult to navigate for a band like us. What do you mean by that? Why has it? I mean, is it ideas that you always held true? Things that you thought were absolutely kind of for sure turned out not to be?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, trying to keep hold on to those kind of principles and realising that if you do that, it gets more difficult to connect with the younger generation and to connect with kind of people that you really respect. Doing adverts, doing encores, making problems for yourself, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that in the record. Do we kind of just wave goodbye all to that and just say, come on, let's enjoy ourselves. We're in our 40s.
I think we realised there was a kind of a gathering storm after we finished the O2 gig, in Christmas 2011. Just kind of, we sensed that, we were kind of frequently looking at the top 20, top 40 even, seeing that there weren't any guitar bands in there. And just to kind of know that the golden age of, like, the rock and roll hit single had kind of, like, passed without even comment was kind of, I don't know, just kind of made us realise we were living in a different age, and we were on our 11th studio album and we're 44.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And this is, there's very little electric guitar in it. I mean, you talk about the sort of the death of the guitar band hit, if that's what's happening. And you haven't played any guitar. I mean, we played lots of guitar. There's only electric on one track, isn't there, James?
I mean, I play a solo on a track called Three Ways to See Despair. I think Nick plays as much electric on the album as I do. He plays one electric with a rhythm guitar track on there. But
was that about Stuart Adamson?
It was, yeah. And I don't know, once you take the dumb majesty of my guitar away from our music, it's scary the hole that it leaves, and it makes me realise it's been a tyranny of my guitar over the last 25 years or so. But there wasn't I didn't come to the studio and Sean and why I didn't do an intervention and say, you can't play guitar anymore.
Yeah.
The lyrics led us down that path. They really did. I just quickly realised that, with lyrics like Sullen Welsh Heart and Rewind the Film, that I couldn't be riffing across those things.
Right.
It would have been stupid.
Yeah.
But 30 Years War you could have been, couldn't you? In a big boiling volcano of faster style rage. Yeah.
I don't think so, no, because that song started out as a different beast, actually.
Yeah.
And there are so many words in that song that you've just got to try and make the words be heard, because in a strange way, I think that's almost, well, kind of one of my proudest moments on the record of us, because I don't, there's a lot of things you can level, a lot of criticism you can level at us, but I think if there's one reason why I would give as to why we should still exist is to write a song like 30 Years War, because I'm not being too pompous about this, but I don't see too many people writing that lyric at the moment.
There's no one else?
I don't think so, no.
No, there's no one else at all, and point people towards that record. But what's that R.S. Thomas line about mirrors that you...
No Truce with the Furies.
Is it No Truce with the Furies?
Yeah, I gave you that book in Kettering in 1998.
You did, but I remember that's good. Wow, well remembered.
I got such a good memory. You were rather drunk, actually.
Was I?
You're all floppy and cuddly.
You've left it in one of your witness relocation homes, Stuart. We can never figure out where you live. We've got a theory about you.
I remember that very well. But no, this the idea of the mirror. The temperature of the mirror is always absolute zero, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the one, yeah, which is the idea of relentless kind of self-examination, which again most bands don't do. You worry about stuff more than most bands, don't you?
I think you did. Actually, I don't think anybody's ever said that to us. We do. We worry constantly about things.
Well, you do. I know. I mean, I hesitate to say this, but you want to go, hey guys, just enjoy the great fun rock and roll lifestyle. No, I would never say that, but you know what I mean.
I think Nick and Sean, I kind of obviously worry a lot, and obviously Richey did.
Yeah,
I did have a 10-year period where I kind of dissolved the worry with a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
But I think it's what's kept us going. We're our own harshest critics, and that's why all our contemporaries really have sort of split and reformed and sort of peddling nostalgia or whatever. With good luck to them, but I think the kind of raw honesty between the three of us at least helps us to function.
Yeah. Let's have Running Out of Fantasy. So tell us about this one.
Well, I mean, when this is, I think, the second oldest song on the record.
Right.
I remember when Nick gave me the lyric, I remember just reading the opening line, which is, my ecosystem is based on hatred. And there are lines in there which just spoke to me straight away, kind of the seduction of a fading power in a hotel room in the middle of nowhere. Those kind of lines did, I was really proud of this when I finished the demo, and I thought it was such an amazing lyric that Nick had written. And then when I gave it to him, he deflated me by saying, yeah, it's a bit like Indie Adele. Which I actually took as a compliment, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Do you always wait? Do you write sort of music? Do you write kind of musical ideas down, or do you always wait for the words to see what music is suggested by the words, James?
Well, kind of for me, when I write music, it's 90% of the time I'd say that I need the lyrics to spark something off.
Yeah.
And usually it's titles, I really fetishize kind of titles, good titles. Like when Faster, came to me, when we were writing the Holy Bible, I thought, God, I can't fail. Just because the title is just amazing.
Yeah.
Motorcycle Aim Gymnast, Design for Life, If You Tolerate This, Your Children Will Be Next. Send Away the Tigers, those titles just really get me excited. So usually if I see a title at the top of the page, that just drags me in. But I gotta say, we spread the music around a lot on this record. Nick has written at least two of the tunes on the record, at least. I think more than that actually. So it's a bit more of a democracy.
And Sean's doing a lot of horns and things, isn't he? And
it's Sean used to play in the Clenning Colliery Band,
right.
Which was in Newbridge, and I used to go and take the mick out of him when he was playing outside, co-op on Christmas. He'd be playing the Hovis theme or Callan Lan, or he'd be playing the Superman theme at Christmas, and I'd go and chuck some coins at him. But it's kind of paid off in the long run because the horn influence has always been there in our music.
He's always been quite... I remember around the time of Kevin Carter that you couldn't get him to do it, and then, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
He was very reticent about doing it. He got more relaxed about it.
We've just made him now.
Forced
Because
him.
it's just, the French horn solo on Build a Routine is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's sort of Beach Boys and everything, and he's got so much of that inside him that we've just really dug it out this time. Because we wanted to make something with an acoustic soul sort of feel, and it's really come through. I did try and drag him out of bed to come over here, but he insisted he was doing something more important.
We got a theory that Sean is just like one of those Tour de France cyclists. He just stays in his room and he's constantly getting doped all the time. Performance-enhancing drugs. So, so that's why he's not here.
Fair enough, right. We'll besmirch his reputation and mull on that as we listen to Running Out of Fantasy.
BBC Six Music.
Carl Davison tweeting at BBC Radmax, new Manics tracks, wow. Claire Hudson saying lovely, evocative and beautiful. James's vocals is glorious. Owen Wilkinson is really loving it. Claire in Tokas Green says, I feel like I've grown up with them, and it's great when they release a new record. My 7-year-old daughter is now a big fan. Sue and Al in sunny Port Talbot, looking forward to seeing you at Port Merion on Sunday. And Ellie Turpin says, about 9 months ago, I was enjoying a cup of tea and Welsh cake in a cafe in my mum's hometown in South Wales. Out of the window I saw Nicky, but I was too shy to go and say hi. Can you do it for me now? So hi, Nicky.
Hello, you should have said hello.
Are you aware of... you must be aware of this. We've talked about this before, I think, that a generation of people have grown up with it and are in it for the long haul. Do you know what I mean? That they're probably not going to say, oh, yeah, I quite like that. I knew that there were some of those people, but a generation of people are in it for the long haul with you.
Yeah, I think there's a severe loyalty within us as people and within our fans. Very demanding from both of us to each other. But it's really healthy and it's sustained us through so many kind of ups and downs. And it's just really gratifying, to see that they still feel as intensely about it as we do.
Nick from Farnham has emailed it, and he's glad that you're around. And he said, my question for those Manics, I thought they were calling it a day after the last album.
You were calling it after... Whoa. You were calling it a day after your first album, I seem to recall.
I think he's just hearing the echo of the initial press release. So. We clearly said, in all the press releases after the O2 show that we wouldn't be playing Britain for around about 2 years. And so we just went off around the world, just picking up gigs, in Japan, Europe and Australia. And we've been working on 2 records. We just thought we should give people a break.
Wow.
That O2 thing did it feel like some kind of, end of an era, turning point, significant moment? Because it did feel like an astonishing evening.
All those things, it did, yeah. I mean, I could see the panic in James's eyes the next day. It was a bit like, we need to get back down the studio. When are you around?
Yeah.
Because it did feel like a certain something is over, really. And you could see the kind of passion and enjoyment in fans' eyes when you'd play something like Revol or Empty Soul, some obscure thing, and just felt like, we just could never do that again, so we had to draw a line and try and go and undergo a process of just coming back with something different.
Well, you come up with lots of stuff. You mentioned working on 2 records, because tell us something about the next record, which you've already done that, have you, which is much more electrified and done in Berlin at Hansa, is that right, broadly?
Mostly. I mean, some of this record was done in Berlin too.
Okay.
So there's some of the records, some of the tracks. On
Is
the
that an
next
atmospheric place, knowing what's gone on in there?
It is atmospheric, but we didn't go there for the Berlin shtick in terms of, because everybody's done that now. It's because the guy, the engineer of the Holy Bible, works over there,
right?
With a massive German solo artist called Herbert Gronemeyer. So we just kind of wanted to reconnect with a guy called Alex Silva, who's a Welsh-Italian guy. We'd worked with him on the Holy Bible. So we did some of the tracks over there, but it's the next record just feels as if the only way I can put it is it feels as if it's based on the European mainland to a large degree. There's a lot of kind of funny sounding titles on there. One of the songs is kind of half sung in German, and there's just a lot of European stuff there. Definitely.
Right. Is it much more of an electric album than this? Is it?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very post-punk. It's very jagged. There's a slightly sort of this is not a love song disco stomp to it as well. But yeah, it's it's called Futurology. So that's
and when will that see the light of day?
Well, hopefully April, May next year.
Right. Okay.
See, these are the kind of disagreements we have. He thinks it's a kind of it's an industrial kind of this is not a love song. I think it's an industrial Nutbush City Limits.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. I think the world's been waiting for an industrial Nutbush City Limits for some time.
Are you feeling after the concert that says that was the end of something that almost there were no rules then? I mean, the previous show to ours finished off with Monobia Castle. But, which is kind of that haunting instrumental, but was there the sense that we can really do what we like now?
Yeah, I think there was. I think we put all our kind of last drop of anthemic melody into Postcards from a Young Man, which we loved, and we had a great 2 years tour in it, and felt like it was our last kind of album that we could kind of pour ourselves into in that way, and we just felt that coming off stage, I just knew Run Out of Fantasy was already there, really, and that was a template, at least some sort of vague template for something just a lot more delicate. I think it allows James's voice to sing as well without massive guitars. You can hear an amazing singer.
I kind of disagree. I've been playing some dodgy rainbow riffs the last couple of days.
And talking of singing, another hallmark of Manic's records recently is guest singers, and you've got a good cast list on here. Not least Hawley, but some others too. Who else is on there?
Well, I mean, there's Lucy Rose in there who kind of sings in a song called Sullen Welsh Heart, which was kind of we wanted to do the job that female backing vocalists used to do on Leonard Cohen songs like That's No Way to Say Goodbye or Sullen Marion. I forgot the name. There's a famous woman that used to sing in his records. I've forgotten her name. Was it Jennifer something? Anyway,
Jennifer Warnes.
Jennifer Warnes. That's right. Yeah. And we kind of wanted to do that job, but it became more than that. It became a kind of duet. And she has such an authoritative kind of cracked voice, she did it in 2 takes, and I just had this gut instinct that I'd been the singer in the band for so long that I was not quite exploring the subtlety in some of the lyrics, especially on this record. And I was proved right. Richard Hawley nailed it in 3 takes. Lucy Rose did the same. Kate LeBon just sent 3 takes over from Los Angeles, and I was my instinct was proven right. And for any kind of Manics conspiracy theorists out there, it was Sean and Nick into a pinch attack saying no guitars and we're sick of your voice. These were all my decisions.
Here's a couple of texts showing the different and equally brilliant aspects of Manic fandom. Peter Bennell-Smith says the greatest and most important band of the last 25 years, and that is still the case. Now I know with your high-minded lack of sentiment, you'll poo-poo that, won't you? But
I'm quite thrilled.
I think we're past that now.
And then Carriad Blodwin says, I'm just packing for festival number 6. What are you planning on wearing, Nick?
I am ruffling through the wardrobe, actually, before I came over here. Thinking about getting my legs out again, but I shall probably be more austere.
Yeah, festival number 6 at the weekend, that should be great.
Yes,
really
that's the show really that brought us out of retirement in the UK. If we hadn't been offered that, I think we could have held on for another 4 or 5 months, but it just felt like a great way to reintroduce ourselves.
Yep, and it'll be great. And then you're here in a couple of Fridays' time in Manchester.
At the Ritz.
Yes.
The Ritz.
Which we've never played, so we're looking really...
Sprung dance floor.
Oh, you'll love it.
I'm sure everyone
you
tells
will love it.
It's funny because it's like we never played Hyde Park, which we did on the weekend. We're playing the 100 Club tonight. We've never played the 100 Club.
Wow.
Never done the Ritz, never done Port Merion. So to do that in the UK after 22 years is quite rare.
It is indeed. Well, it's really lovely to talk to you. See you at the weekend, I hope.
Yeah, it'll be a pleasure.
Thanks for letting me host your show as well, Steve.
You were worryingly good, mate, and so I'll put a stop to that in future.
I tell you what, you two should do this show when me and him are off.
You know what? That is such a good idea.
It was such a freak, I'd really mess it up like that.
Great talking to you guys. We're going to finish with another of my favourites from the record, Anthem for a Lost Cause. So give us a little bit of background to this before we hear
James
it.
wrote this lyric, actually. So
Right, okay.
It was basically it's a lyric about how the song has become pointless.
Excellent.
Okay, right then.
There you go.
Excellent.
How poignant is it possible
Well,
to
that
be?
about wraps it up for pop music, so this is the last tune we're going to play. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
BBC Six Music.